The Hawker Hunter first flew in 1951. It was powered by the Rolls-Royce Avon engine, later the Avon 200, and for export, the Hawker Siddeley Sapphire. It was fast, agile, and powerful. And you're probably wondering why I'm telling you this. Well, those are words I could probably use to describe my E39 M5. A bold statement, and you'll find that every single E39 M5 owner will tell you that this is the best M5 to come out of the Dingolfing factory. At the moment, you can find some decent F10 M5s on the market for really good prices. So, compared, is this car really as good as people say it is? If you speak to any E39 M5 owner, they will tell you that this is God's gift to the car community. But what's it really like to live with? Well, to start with our investigation, let's look at the engine. The engine in this M5 is a 4.9 litre aluminium block V8 that's naturally aspirated. It has 392 horsepower and 369 foot-pounds of torque. 392 horsepower, it doesn't seem like much, especially when you compare it to the E60 V10 and the Twin-Turbo V8 of the F10. I think this engine holds up on its own against them. Yes, it may not be fast, it may not be as powerful, but with a 6-speed manual and boatloads of torque, this will give you as much driving thrills as you could find in any other car. When buying this car, I really deliberated over whether this would be the one or an E60. And I think the E60 is an amazing engine. It sounds beautiful. There are some maintenance issues that horror stories on the internet, but I'm really happy with this engine. It is powerful enough for British roads, and I've taken it to the Autobahn and we've got it up to 170, so there's no issue there with speed. It's great for city driving, all the torque is low down. I don't think I can fault it that much, and I haven't really had any maintenance issues with the engine. You'll be doing that a lot with this car. The fuel consumption situation is not the best, let's be honest. I regularly get around 15 mpg doing sort of mixed driving, 22 on a long journey with motorways, but let's be honest, if you're buying this car, you probably don't care about fuel consumption. And unfortunately, it doesn't end there. As you can see by the thickness of my folder, it's quite a lot to run this beast. Start, proof of ownership, that's good, always own your car. £150, that was a new prop shaft. Oh wait, hang on, that, oh fuck. I was about to say, what? We have £30, £5, £42, £2, £5, £45, £82, £48 and £640. That includes a new prop shaft, some various seals and gaskets and things like that. Stuff to include a clutch and a flywheel. Oil, 43, 43, 15. 2 weeks after buying my car, diff goes. I have to send it into BMR Performance. That whole visit cost me £2,275. That included a diff rebuild. We've got my fuel folder, which I don't even look at because I will kill myself. That's the end, somehow. Have you got your Euro Car Parts discount code ready? Because you'll be buying a lot of this. Now, I have to say this is a pre-facelift engine which has lower tension piston rings, which does cause higher and increased oil consumption. Some of the facelift engines, you won't have this issue. It's not exactly the best thing when you have to constantly fill it up with oil, but it's livable. So driving the E39 M5 is actually quite a pleasurable experience. The handling, it is crisp, it's direct, and it feels very nice in both scenarios. So if you're driving in a sporty manner or if you're driving around town. The only thing I will mention is the steering box is a recirculating ball as opposed to the rack and pinion you'd find in the 6-cylinders. I've driven some of them and I have to say I do prefer the rack and pinion. This isn't bad, so to speak, but definitely leaves much to be desired for when you compare it to a 6-cylinder. Pressing the sport button stiffens up the steering, and it does make a vast improvement to it over the normal steering system. The standard suspension on the E39 M5 is actually really good. It has a blend of comfort, which you need, as this is more of a daily car really. than a sports car. It does leave a bit of a gap if you're going around twisty roads and you want to have some fun sort of driving. There's a lot of body roll. My M5 is fitted with BC coilovers, which are great when you're going around some B roads, but as you can see there, potholes and normal roads, especially in England, it just is too bumpy. It's not comfortable to go around in the car. The engine in this M5 is actually sublime when you're driving it. It's very easy when you're talking about numbers and comparing the engines with other ones on paper to say, oh my God, there's just an accident happened. Fucking hell. Anyway, back to the car review. What was I talking about?
Your car?
Yeah. So having a nice juicy V8 at 4.9 litres is great, but it does have its drawbacks. At best, I'll be getting 18 mpg. On a few trips where I've been, especially to Germany, where I was doing an extreme long distance at around 70 miles an hour, I got about 22, but that is the maximum I've ever got. With fuel prices at the moment, if you're just buying this car as a daily, you have to be prepared to spend a lot of money on fuel. You're going to get a big shock if you think it's going to be cheap to run. Tax is actually quite good on this car. I pay about £290, I think, which I have people with normal everyday cars who pay more than me, so I can't complain on that front. And insurance, I pay about £600 for this and my daily car, so actually a really good deal. Talk about smooth V8's power delivery. In short, yes. It's not the fastest, it's not the most comfortable, it's not the best sounding, but it performs well. You can go sideways with like 2000 RPM, it's crazy. It's not the most efficient, it's going to cost you a lot of money to maintain, but do I regret it? No. The price of an E39 M5 has shot up recently, and a lot of the owners think the value of their car is much more than it's actually worth. I've seen some F10 M5s now on the market for less than £20,000, and they're packed with modern infotainment systems, powerful engines, better fuel economy. You could argue that it's more worthwhile to spend your money on one of those than it is on an E39 M5. Yes, I'll be honest, I kind of do want an E60. I used to think they were the most ugly car on the road, but the Chris Bangle era of BMW has slowly grown on me, and I think they're actually quite beautiful. And who wouldn't want a V10? A V10 powered saloon car that you can take your friends out in. If I had to pick between the two, I still think I would go for the E39, purely because it is mainly the engine that beckons me towards the E60. The interior is a bit nicer, but I still think it hasn't dated quite as well. And I don't know, I think I'd prefer to go for an E39. It just ticks all the boxes. It's an all-rounder and you have less reliability and maintenance issues, even though it's not the best.